Now, some video games don't put you in the role of a hero. Their plot is deliberately written so that you actually play as the villain. Now, these games will often incentivize you to make bad choices in order to give you more opportunities, in order to make you more evil. Just making people suffer is a good thing in these games. However, just because the game is about being a bad guy, it doesn't mean that you actually have to be one. In fact, sometimes you might actually get rewarded for acts of kindness within these types of evil games. So let's have a chat about them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 evil video games where being good pays off.
Oi, you! What are you buying? What are you selling? Well, I'm so pleased you asked, because if you want to stay safe online and browse freely, NordVPN is running an unbelievable deal at the minute that gets you up to 76% off subscriptions and 3 months free. Just scan the QR code in this video or click the link in the description below and it's all yours.
Helping a little boy is better than scaring him. Ghostmaster. Now, Ghostmaster is an old strategy game about commanding a team of spooky spectres and scaring every mortal that dares to meddle with your undead affairs. Now, your goal is to mess with them so much and scare them to the point of mental trauma in order to leave your house. But if you want to unlock one of the most useful ghosts in the game, you actually have to do the opposite and help a little boy reunite with his beloved plushy rabbit. Harriet is a unique type of ghost called a puka that appears in the mission The Phantom of the Operating Room. Less dramatic than Phantom of the Opera, but whatever. Her unique abilities make her the perfect support character, but in order to recruit her, you need to help a little boy that she's bound to. The puka will explain that she can't leave the boy until he stops crying, and the only way to do that is to return the toy that his bully stole from him. To do this, you have to spook the bully near Harriet's child friend, causing him to drop the stolen toy, and then scare him off the premises before he can pick it back up. Scare a kid to help a kid. Simple, right? Although the bully really has got an obsession with this toy. I mean, imagine seeing an actual member of the undead community just coming up at you and then being like, "Oh, I've dropped my toy. But I better take it, it's not technically mine, but I've got to come back for it anyway." She'd be like, "Mate, look at what you've just seen. Somebody's jaw's bloody hanging off." Priorities. A good Sith is a beloved Sith. Star Wars: The Old Republic. Now, Star Wars: The Old Republic is an MMORPG set in the world of the galaxy far, far away, which doesn't make sense when you read it out loud, but you know what I mean. The player's character can either join the Republic or the Empire, and as you might imagine, being part of the latter faction involves some pretty messed up evil things. A member of the Sith Empire usually finds themselves torturing, killing, and exploiting people for their superiors. As a benefit, they accumulate dark side points that can help improve their abilities. But if you'd rather find a date than unlimited power, doing some good in the galaxy is a better alternative to violence. You see, the unique thing about the Old Republic as an MMO is that it comes with NPC companions for each playable class. Their main duty is to support you in combat, but some of them can be romanced. And among those companions, some can only be romanced if you prove to them that you are a good-ish person to be a partner. Now, light side aligned companions of the Empire include Vet, Ashara, Vector, and Mako. You can technically start being evil after you romance them, but you'll have to do a lot of good deeds to raise their affection to even have a chance at love. So what you need to do here is show them that not every Sith's heart is black. It just becomes that way after getting into a relationship. There's a deeper meaning to this, and I don't want to delve into it further. High honor matters. Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, most fans of Red Dead Redemption 2 agree that the game's high honor ending is not only canonical, but also the one that Arthur kind of deserves. Although the game centers around a gang of criminals killing and robbing for personal gain, you don't have to act like an opportunistic scumbag all the time. In fact, you don't really want to, because the game's honor system will actively punish you for it. Now, most actions in the game are judged by Red Dead Redemption's honor system. You gain honor for acting good and lose it for causing wanton destruction. Now, given that the outcome of missions is usually determined by your own decisions and not the amount of honor that you have, you may feel like being bad and stealing as much money as you want won't hurt things, right? Well, maintaining Arthur's reputation as an honorable man leaves an impact on multiple things. If Arthur dies with high honor, the people in the epilogue will speak more fondly of him, and his grave will be decorated with flowers and kind words engraved on the tombstone. Meanwhile, the low honor Arthur gets a completely bare tombstone and and plenty of jaded comments. So if you don't want this cowboy to become a forgotten villain, you better turn him into an honourable outlaw. A romantic getaway, Vampyr. Now Vampyr is an action RPG about, you guessed it, vampires, just in case you hadn't guessed it. You play as a freshly transformed bloodsucker, Dr. Jonathan Reed, and while most people would assume that this would involve using your undead powers right away, if you want to get the good ending, you actually have to kind of do the opposite. Although the game features an extensive system for using, upgrading, and unlocking new vampiric powers, you don't actually have to use them. Since the powers are mostly used for killing innocent people and bleeding them dry, you can choose to limit their usage instead and feed only when necessary. Now this might seem like it's taking the fun out of the game, but you can still use your powers to help protect the people of London. This way, not only do you get a kick out of being an immortal creature of the night, kind of like a Batman, but an actual man-bat, but also being a good vampire will secretly unlock the game's best ending, in which Reed proves to his lover Elizabeth that he can control his vampiric urges, and the two happily move to America together. Considering that the other two endings involve killing Elizabeth and becoming a mindless blood fiend, it's definitely better to be a good, bad monster guy. That's what they should have called it. A good, bad monster guy. On sale now. Working for an evil government doesn't mean you have to be evil. Papers, please. Now in Papers, Please, you play as an inspector of a border checkpoint in the fictional dictatorship of Arstotzka. Due to the oppressive regime of your country, you have to be diligent with your work and sometimes make really cruel choices to keep your family alive and well. However, despite the fact that the game typically penalises you for acting nice and showing compassion, there is one event where choosing love over duty is the better choice. You see, at one point during your career at the checkpoint, you'll be approached by a young soldier. Now, the man will ask you for a favour, explain that he wants you to let his lover cross the border, despite the fact that she doesn't have a passport and the proper documentation. Now, given that you receive citations and lose money for mistakes, you'd think that this random act of kindness is only going to endanger you and your family, especially when you think as well that he's a soldier and could be doing this to try and get you to make a mistake so that they can fire you or do something worse. But even though letting her through does give you a monetary penalty, if she and her lover are reunited and survive the oncoming attacks on the borders, well, he'll actually visit you again and thank you with triple the amount of money that you've lost. So I'll tell you what, my friends, love wins out, but only if people reward you for it. Don't read too much into that either. Why kill them when you can become their god? Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. Now, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver is the action-adventure continuation of the original Legacy of Kain, in which you play as the titular vampire's renegade pupil, Raziel. Your new protagonist is resurrected by the Elder God in order to kill his old master that has locked the world in eternal decay. But this being said, you're far from being a good guy. I mean, you're a vengeful vampire after all, and a lot of your actions in-game reflect that, allowing you to do things like kill the last remaining humans and drain their life force to boost your abilities. However, you don't have to do that. You can actually leave them alone as well, and your act of non-aggression will actually yield greater benefits, because it turns out that if you don't kill any humans, their tribes will eventually begin worshipping you and stop attacking you. Now this might not sound like a big deal, but later in the game, if the humans are aggressive, they'll send powerful vampire hunters after you, whereas if they worship you, you can completely avoid this difficult encounter altogether. As a bonus, you can still steal their life force from the worshipping humans once they turn non-aggressive, because apparently, once you prove yourself to be good, they don't care about losing their souls. Jesus, that is not a long game plan that they had there. Helping strangers makes criminal life easier. Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the first entry in the series that allows you to play as a completely unhinged psychopath like Trevor, justifying all of the horrible things that you might do to Los Santos civilians in and out of missions. Still, the murderous, drug-dealing, alleged cannibal is only a third of the playable cast, and while Franklin and Michael definitely aren't saints either, doing a good deed with them every now and again can actually prove quite useful. Now, while you're free roaming around the city, your character can stumble upon random encounters with strangers. Now, usually these NPCs will ask you to do a simple task for a meager reward, and since you play as opportunistic criminals, it seems much more profitable to just kill them and then just take the prize they were going to give you anyway, right? Well, there are two encounters where this is definitely the wrong choice, and that helping them is Well, it yields some genuinely useful rewards. The first involves helping Paki from GTA 4 escape a heist gone wrong, and the second requires you to rescue a woman named Taliana out of a bad car crash. If aided, both NPCs will join your heist crew as cheap but incredibly efficient specialists, so make sure to give them a helping hand instead of a middle finger. Humanity is pretty important, especially with Mercurio, Vampyr the Masquerade. Now, Vampyr the Masquerade Bloodlines puts the player in the role of a freshly turned bloodsucker. Your curse demands that you kill and manipulate mortals to satiate the beast that shares your undead body with you. However, letting your inner monster out isn't really the best way to blend in with regular people, or in fact getting the game's best weapons. Now, you see, your first mission as a newly turned vampire is to blow up a rival vampire sex warehouse using a bomb from the prince's ghoul Mercurio. Upon visiting Mercurio, you discover that the man has been nearly beaten to death and lost the bomb, which forces you to go retrieve it on your own. Now, although Mercurio is dying, the game will let you progress if you ignore his awful state. However, if you do find some medicine to heal the ghoul and don't report him to his boss for his failure, in the final act, Mercurio will contact you and offer to sell you the best weapons in the game as thanks. Since you can't get these weapons otherwise, helping him is a must, even for the vilest and most crooked of vampires, because at the end of the day, big guns, big reward. A good ending to an evil game, Overlord. Now, Overlord is an early 2000s series of games about taking over the world as an evil, fantastical tyrant. You're clearly not the good guy of your story, even though the so-called heroes who've defeated you, they're not that great either. But with this being said, the game does secretly come with a morality system, and there's even a good ending for those who don't go fully evil. Overlord features a corruption mechanic that tracks all of the good and evil things you've done. This corruption increases when you kill friendly civilians, steal things, and do other messed up things. Now, gameplay-wise, high corruption can yield benefits to your character, slightly boosting their abilities, but where it makes the most difference is in the game's ending. If your corruption level is high, well, in the ending, your Overlord is described as an unhinged and sadistic fiend. However, if despite all of the opportunities to be evil, you've somehow maintained a low corruption, in the game's ending, the Overlord is portrayed as a harsh but just ruler of his newly conquered empire. And let's be real, there's something satisfying about turning the bad guy of the story into its hero. Agent Smith's your man, Hitman. If you're shocked to hear that a game series literally titled Hitman has you playing as a terrible, murdering scumbag, then you must be really confused about the word Hitman and what it actually means. No, Agent 47 does not professionally hit on people. He hits their heads with heavy objects and then snaps their necks for good measure, even if the alternative is actually really fun to imagine. Now, since your job is to kill, you'd think that there's little room for kindness in Agent 47's line of work, and yet one reoccurring character in the series shows that even a cold-hearted assassin can benefit from helping a man who's in need every once in a while. Agent Smith is an incompetent CI agent that's been an acquaintance of Agent 47 ever since the first game in the franchise. In each of his appearances, the US operative is in some kind of peril, such as being tortured or stuffed into a freezer, and Agent 47 has the option to rescue him. You might think that this is pointless, but helping Smith out usually unlocks a hidden assassination path or useful intel, so seeking the unlucky spy out and giving him a hand is definitely recommended, even if it does go against the job's MO. And there we go, my friends, those were 10 evil video games where being good definitely pays off. I hope you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Instagram and Blue Sky, where it's @RetroJ, but the O is a 0. And because we've been speaking about today, about the evil video games and being good in them, I just hope that you're doing well, my friend, as well. I hope that you're treating yourself well, because you know what? You deserve the best. You deserve love, happiness, and respect. I know I bang on about it, but it is true every single time I say it. You're a massive ledge. You deserve the best, so just be kind to yourself, all right? Big love from me to you. Hope you're doing well. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Oh, and I guess go check out another video over here. We're doing a new thing, and I've just forgotten about it.